I am Peggy Drzajic, the Idaho Tar Wars Coordinator, and on behalf of the Idaho Academy of Family Physicians, I want to thank you for your involvement in the Tar Wars program. The success of our program is dependent on people like you who so graciously give of your time to present this very important message to our Idaho youth. Your efforts are very much appreciated. We are pleased to be able to offer you this training video and hope it proves to be a beneficial aid. Our purpose is to give new presenters a visual of what a Tar Wars presentation looks like and perhaps re-inspire some of you who have been presenting Tar Wars for many years. Here are some suggestions and guidelines for a successful presentation. Be proactive. Contact the school to set up your presentation. Let them know this is an important message you are bringing them. The Tar Wars presentation is best given to one class at a time. Smaller groups make it possible to engage the students and keep their attention. Presenting to larger groups is okay if it's the only option, but it is not ideal and should be the exception, not the rule. The time requirement to give the most effective presentation is 1 hour. Teachers are usually willing to devote the time if you explain the benefit. Be enthusiastic. Use your personal experience and knowledge to engage and involve the students. In 1 hour, you can make a big difference in helping kids make good choices. I strongly suggest you use the PowerPoint, which has been redone to match this training video. Feel free to change the order of the slides or even leave some out if it better suits your style. You can also use additional props or activities that you might have access to. Here are a few ideas past presenters have used. Show pig lungs or human lung tissue if you have access to them. We always get positive feedback when pig lungs are used. Show a jar of tar. Show the totally disgusting tobacco gross-out video, which can be borrowed from BSU's Regional Alcohol and Drug Awareness Resource, or RADAR. RADAR also offers pamphlets and flyers, which can be given to the teachers or students. Bring samples of things containing the poisons found in cigarettes. Bring actual samples of tobacco products that look like candy. If you choose to follow the PowerPoint as is, that's fine too. Be creative. Please be aware and mindful of the culture and diversity of the students you will be teaching. Some of the students may have parents or relatives who smoke. You are there to educate, not judge or solve problems. That is why we provide the parent information letter. Ideally, the students should take a copy of this home with them and share what they have learned. The poster contest is one of my favorite parts of the program. And while it's an optional activity, participation is highly encouraged. Remember, posters must focus on tobacco, not drugs in general. Please mention the poster contest and available prizes to the students, unless the teacher has specified that they will not be participating. Finally, I want to stress the importance of having the teachers fill out and send in the evaluation form provided. These evaluations are crucial to obtaining grant funding so we can continue to offer this wonderful program free of charge to the youth of Idaho. I want to thank you again for your time and dedication to Tar Wars. Have fun with it, and please know that I am here to help and assist you in any way possible.
Hi guys, how are you guys today? Good. So I'm Mrs. Santos, this is Mrs. Drzajic, and we're here today to talk to you about Tar Wars. Tar Wars is a tobacco prevention program for 5th graders, and I know we have some 6th graders in here, but that's okay. So why do you think they call it Tar Wars? So let me see, who's really smart here? How about you back there?
I think tar is like in the chemical in the cigarette.
You're right.
And you are trying to fight it, I guess. So
Yep.
it's not war.
Very good.
Presentation.
You are so smart.
Oh, all right. Good for you.
Good for you. That's awesome. So how do you think they came up with the name Tar Wars? So how about you?
since there's tar in the cigarettes, and I think they're getting it from Star Wars. Just sticking with yes.
Yep. So this presentation has actually been around since right about the same time that Star Wars started, all that, 30 years ago. So a family doctor in Colorado developed the program because he saw how young kids like you were being influenced by the tobacco industry, how they were pushing you to start using tobacco products, cigarettes, chew, that type of thing, before you really should even think about it. So he thought if we get to these kids early, tell them what they shouldn't do, they shouldn't use tobacco products, and educate you on the effects of tobacco products, then maybe when that time came that somebody tried to push you to use tobacco, that you could say no, because you already knew about it. So Dr. Kane is from Colorado. He worked for the Doctors Out of Care program, and this program is actually owned by the American Academy of Family Physicians. So Peggy and I, Mrs. Drzeich and I, we work for the Idaho Academy of Family Physicians. So we work with family doctors and other folks who are very interested in this issue. So who wants to read this for me? Okay, why don't you?
Tobacco-related illnesses kill more people than alcohol, AIDS, car accidents, illegal drugs, murders, and suicides
Combined. So using tobacco products causes your health to decrease significantly. What's in a cigarette? So lots and lots of yucky chemicals. This is just a very few ingredients that are in cigarettes. There are actually hundreds of toxic products that are in cigarettes. So you wouldn't want to drink any of this stuff or put any of this stuff in your body, would you? That would just be crazy. So why would anybody ever want to start using tobacco products? I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Drzeich because this is something she's passionate about.
Well, I am, because actually the nicotine is found naturally in tobacco leaves. That's the only place it's found, is in the tobacco leaves. It's a natural substance that's found in there. And they have found out how to extract it from the tobacco leaves so they can determine how much they put into the tobacco products. So it's not always just the tobacco leaf that they use, which that's what they started with when tobacco was first discovered, but they have found out that the nicotine in the tobacco is a very addictive drug. Do you know what addictive means?
Addictive means like you can't stop, your body wants more of it.
Exactly. The nicotine is the most important thing that you have to remember is in all tobacco products is nicotine. And it reaches your brain within 10 seconds. So knowing that all of those toxins and chemicals are in tobacco products, what do you think it does to your body when you even use tobacco for a short time? So we're going to do a little activity to help us think about that. And the way the activity is going to go is that we're going to we're going to divide the class into two parts. So these two tables will be in one, these two tables will be in the other group. I need one person from each group to be our sticky person. Sticky person. How about you in the blue over here? And how about you in the blue back there?
Okay.
Yep.
Come on up. Come
right up here. And actually, why don't you stand right here? Why don't you stand right here? And why don't you stand right here? And we're going to hand out some little packets, and in those packets is a sticky pad that you are going to think about. I'm going to flash up on the screen here in a minute, just for a minute. I'm going to flash up on here some of the ideas that we're looking for. So effects that tobacco has on your body right away.
This is a hint. These are just hints for
these
you.
are hints.
So if
and
you
if
come
you
up
think
with
of
other
something
things,
else, yep,
great.
you're right. So
Okay, you wanna hand
write
these,
down
just
one.
these around?
After I flash the screen up here, write down one idea on your piece of paper, and then stick it on the sticky person. And you're going to have 1 minute to do it. Ready? Okay.
Go.
1 minute.
Okay. So, bad breath. Your nails turn yellow. Very good. You guys are good.
Affects your relationship with people. Oh, that's a good
that's
one.
Very good.
Bad breath. Smelly clothes. Difficulty breathing.
That's good.
Affects taste. Oh, we got 2 of the taste. And lungs rot. I love that. Lungs rot. Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blue team wins. You hit on a lot of them, but we really have to think about what happens when you smoke tobacco. You all know what phlegm is, don't you? This is from a person that smokes. That's what they spit out of their body. That's disgusting, isn't it? But what happens, phlegm is really kind of a good thing in your body. It protects your body from germs and infections and toxins and poisons that get in your body. When you put something like cigarette smoke or tobacco products in your body, there's a lot of toxins in that, and the phlegm is working overtime to try to counteract those toxins, and your lungs fill up with not only the tar and all the other ugly things that are in tobacco products, but that phlegm is going overtime. That's why it makes it hard to breathe and difficult. Your lungs get really overworked because of the phlegm in them. So coughing, hacking. I love this description. Who can read this one for me? How about here in the green?
When you use tobacco, blood that's thick and dirty with toxins circulates through your body in seconds.
Think of that. That's not a very pleasant thought. Bad breath, zoo breath. Your clothes and hair are smelly. When you smoke, you stink. Yellow teeth and fingers. Ugh, yuck. This is probably from somebody who has smoked for quite a long time, but it doesn't take very long for those effects to come into play if you smoke or use tobacco products. Difficulty running and breathing. How many of you like to play sports in here? How many of you like to go out for a walk with your dog? Those things are all impacted by using tobacco. Affects your taste and smell. When your smell is affected, your taste is affected, because those two are very connected. The most important one, and we've talked about this before, and it is an immediate effect. We talk about the long-term and the short-term effects, and we're talking about the short-term effects, things that will affect you right now. It only takes 2 or 3 for some people to become addicted. That's pretty scary. The long-term effects. In the long run, all these things can happen to your body. The addiction, of course, we can't emphasize that enough. Wrinkles, cataracts, mouth cancers, skin damage, throat cancer, psoriasis, heart disease, lung disease, stomach ulcers. These are bad things. Why would you ever do something that could result in something like that? Other tobacco products. Tobacco comes in a lot of different forms besides just cigarettes, right? They're always trying to come up with something new. How many of you recognize any of these things? You know what snus is? Little packets. You know what dissolvables are? They have orbs and lozenges and strips and sticks. There's all kinds of different things. Little cigars and cigarillos. Some people think that chewing tobacco is not as dangerous as smoking a cigarette. I want to tell you, it's more dangerous because it's right there in contact with your mouth in a very high dosage, and it's going directly into your bloodstream and affecting all those tender tissues in your mouth. So chewing tobacco is bad stuff. How many of you know what these are? You've all heard of e-cigarettes? Hookahs? Who can tell me what a hookah is? How about you in the pink?
Like what the caterpillar smokes in Alice in Wonderland.
You know, isn't that amazing that they've been around that long? But this is a fairly new development, the e-cigarettes. I really prefer this name for them, ENDS, Electronic Nicotine Delivery System. They've, like I told you, they have taken that nicotine out of the tobacco leaf, put it in a little vial so that they can put that directly into the vapor that comes through these e-cigarettes. They call them vapes. There's a lot of different names for the e-cigarettes. They're trying to make you think that they're okay by not associating them directly with cigarettes, but they all have nicotine in them at different levels. They're all dangerous. Tobacco products in any shape or flavor are bad for your health. Don't be fooled by the ads that say this is better because it doesn't have the smoke. You're still getting that nicotine delivered directly into your lungs through the use of any of these tobacco products. The bad thing about hookahs and water pipes is that these are shared. They take them in and they have places where you can go and smoke from these, and everyone shares that mouthpiece. So not only are you getting those horrible toxins in there through that vapor, but you're sharing germs with everyone else in the room who might have a cold or some kind of oral herpes or anything. That's so unhealthy on so many different levels. But they like to try to make it look attractive for you. It is not.
So secondhand smoke. So I'm sure that everyone in here knows of someone who uses tobacco products. Well, the first thing I want to tell you is it's not up to you to get them to stop. You can encourage them to stop, but it's not up to you. It's their choice. But secondhand smoke still has all those toxic chemicals in it. Even if you're not smoking the cigarette yourself, those toxins are still in that smoke. So non-smokers who breathe in secondhand smoke take in nicotine and toxic chemicals the same way smokers do. People have died from secondhand smoke, just like anyone using a tobacco product, anyone using a cigarette. So your exposure to secondhand smoke can still cause asthma, still cause bronchitis, still cause pneumonia, respiratory problems. You've seen, I'm sure, moms and dads who have used cigarette products around their kids. Well, you're more prone to give your kids some type of asthma or bronchitis if you smoke around them. So, but don't feel like it's your responsibility to stop them. It's not. You can encourage them, you can ask them to stop, but it's not your responsibility.
So, if someone's smoking around you, how do you prevent by breathing it off?
Well, that's the hard thing about it. It's hard to not, even when the particles go and land on clothing, and if you can smell it, it's not good for you. So you could ask politely if that person could smoke somewhere else, or you could remove yourself from that situation. You always want to be polite about that. So you don't want to judge people. Good people smoke. But we want to help educate each other. That's why we're here, is to help educate. And you can take that information home to your family and share that with them. So that, because when we know what happens, it gives us a better reason to try to stop. But it's a very difficult habit to stop.
So we like this one. Mind if I smoke? Care if I die? So she knows that that secondhand smoke affects her too.
We're going to do a little activity now that we've talked about some of these effects that you have on yourselves. In your bags, you've got a straw. So take it out, and if yours is covered in paper, make sure that paper ends up in the trash. And what we're going to have you do, this is going to kind of show you what it feels like to try to breathe when your lungs are all full of phlegm and so forth. So if any of you have asthma or a cold or just don't feel like doing this exercise. This is optional. It's just to give you an idea. You do not have to participate. You know, it's up to you. But we'll ask you to stand up by your desk, and first of all, just try breathing through the straw, just normal. Don't plug your nose yet. Just try breathing through the straw. Just breathe through the straw. It's a little bit constricted, right? Okay, now you're going to plug your nose and breathe only through the straw. No cheating. Just breathe only through the straw, and you're going to jog in place.
Just through the straw.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Who thought that was hard?
Yeah. It's not easy to breathe just through that little bitty straw when you're doing exercises.
That's what happens to a smoker. They're constricted, their lungs are full of phlegm, so they don't have as much room to breathe. And that really impacts how you can perform at sports, how you can get out and walk your dog, or how you can do any of those things. That really has an impact. We're going to talk a little bit now about why people would ever even start. You know that it's bad. Why do people start smoking cigarettes? So what does this say? You know what peer pressure is?
Yeah, yes. People that encourage you to smoke.
What is peer pressure? It's not really encouragement. What does peer pressure mean? In the green.
It kind of like guilt you into doing it.
Kind of like guilt you into doing it. Another thought?
They're kind of like, come on, smoke with me, come on.
So what do? I mean, we all like to be accepted, right? We like to be accepted by our friends. It's a strong pull on us to want to do things that our friends do. If you had somebody that wanted you to smoke, I don't know if that would be a real good friend, because friends usually want their friends to do something good. But let's just say you had somebody that asked you to smoke. What are you going to do?
Nope.
And you can do that without being rude, right? Can you do that without being rude?
Yeah, you can say, I'd rather not, because I could end up getting addicted and never ever stop again.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yep, that's a good answer. Anyone else? You can use humor, you can...
Oh, you want me to die? Okay.
I love that. Now there's a good use of humor. There's a good use of humor. So but you have to make up your mind now that if you come to this situation, your answer is no. Another reason, image. The tobacco advertisements are very instrumental in making us think that it's cool. What do you think? Do you think it seems cool when you see people smoke?
No.
Well,
I don't think this plays into it quite as much as it used to, because we're becoming educated.
So glamorous. How can yucky teeth, smelly fingers, awful clothes, how can that make you look glamorous? How can that make you look cool? So all of your sticky person comments, put those together. That doesn't match up. It just doesn't match up. It's going to make you popular to smell bad? Who wants to be around somebody that smells bad? Yuck.
Not me.
Not me.
Here's one that's not quite so obvious. Some people think that it will help them relax, that it's relaxing. Nicotine is a stimulant. It speeds up the heart rate, increases blood pressure, and revs up the body. It'll help you relax, all right, right into the grave. So that's not a real good reason either.
All right, Quinn, we're going to have you do some math for us. So the average cost of a pack of cigarettes is between $4 and $11, depending on where you live. In some states, here in Idaho, I think it's right around $5. We're going to figure $5. Could be a little more, could be a little less. But how much would you spend on cigarettes? So if you smoked one pack of cigarettes a day, $5 every day for a week, how much would that be? So do 5 times 7,
Probably do that one in your head, Gwen.
Yep. $35 in a week you would spend just smoking cigarettes. And now, let's go 10 years. So you guys are how old? 11, 12? 10, 11, 12? Right in there? So in 10 years, when you're 21, how much money would you have spent if you started smoking? $16,000. Over $16,000 just in cigarettes, just burning it up. You wouldn't have anything to show for it. That is a lot of money. What would you
Thank
use
you,
that
Gwen.
money for? Thank you, hon. What would you, okay, let's pick on somebody who hasn't said anything. You back in the maroon.
Probably help pay for the taxes for the houses at my grandma's house and my house.
Yeah, you could pay taxes. That's good.
What a nice thing.
Okay, you and the brown.
I would buy unicorn.
A unicorn?
I'd like to know where you can buy one of those.
That's
when you
creative.
find out where you
How
can buy
about
a
you?
unicorn, will you let us know? I would like a unicorn too.
Computer.
A computer, yeah. You could buy a really, really nice computer for $16,000.
Think if you lived in a state where cigarettes cost $10 a pack. So double that.
Yep.
Double that.
So let's talk a little bit about how you're marketed to. Mrs. Drzajic is going to talk about marketing. Do you guys know what marketing is? What's marketing?
It's like when you're trying to sell something.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to sell something.
Yep.
So advertising is one of the greatest tools they use to market their product. And advertising comes in a lot of different forms. They advertise on billboards, they advertise in magazines, they advertise on television, they advertise on the internet. And there have been some restrictions put on the tobacco companies. There have been. They have been told that they cannot market or advertise to minors, children under the age of 18. Did you know it's illegal to buy tobacco if you're under the age of 18? It's illegal. It's against the law. You're breaking the law when you buy cigarettes under that age. And because they know if they can get you to start smoking before you're 18, it's a pretty good chance they have a customer for life. They have a customer for life. So they're going to do everything they can to make it look, as we talked before, like it's glamorous, like it's cool. These are not truths, are they?
So you might want to point out how much
Oh.
money they spend.
Well, who can read that one? That's a pretty amazing statistic. How about you in the pink?
In just 1 hour, the time it takes to present Tar Wars to your classroom, the tobacco industry will spend more than $1 million on marketing creative to get people to start using their products.
$1 million
In 1 hour.
in 1 hour.
That's pretty amazing to me. They spend a lot of money trying to entice you to use their products. Here's something that they do that is just underhanded to me, that the tobacco companies say, oh no, we're not going to try to market or advertise to young people. But what do? What do you see here? Which one of these things are candy and which ones are tobacco products? Can you pick them out?
How about the one in the green? He hasn't contributed yet.
Frost, Orbits, Altoids, and Junior Mints aren't tobacco.
That's right.
Right. But the Camel, the Snus, the Skoal are tobacco. Don't they look a lot alike?
So another way that they market underhandedly is they put smokers in different movies, on TV shows, so they want you to think that it's just normal to use tobacco products.
They kind of get around the fact that they can't advertise their product. They can't actually put on there the brand of cigarette, but they work with the movie industry to say, we'll give you some money if you have one of your characters in your script smoking. And they have found that that is more effective than all those other reasons that we gave you, the peer pressure, the image, the relaxation, those things. Seeing somebody that you admire and think a lot of smoking has more of an impact on your brain to make you, to fool you and make you feel like it's okay than any of those other things. So you just have to be smart.
So tobacco companies lose 3,000 to 5,000 customers every day. They're the only business that kills off their own customers. That seems silly, doesn't it? So that's why they're coming to kids like you. Because they're losing all of those customers, they need new customers. So they market to younger and younger kids all the time. So that's why you need to be aware of it.
They want you. Don't be fooled. Don't get hooked. So the truth is, using tobacco is not cool. It is gross and disgusting. Tobacco can make you sick, or it can even kill you. The truth is, tobacco companies do not want you to know the truth. But now you do, don't you? So what did you learn today? What's something, the main thing, the point that you remember the most? What did you learn? Let's go back here. Yep, you.
I learned that there's many different ways that they can hide tobacco in the stores and people won't even know that it's there.
They try to fool you with their marketing, don't they, and their packaging. Know that knowledge is power. When you know something that empowers you to make good choices, you've got the information you need to make good choices about your health. You are in control of that. You have the power to do that. So we like to think about the good, positive things about staying tobacco-free. How wonderful your life is when you're not encumbered with an addiction or with all the smelly things. So now this is up to the teacher who participates in the poster contest, or if you do. It's just a good way to reinforce it. There's some pretty good prizes, but remember to go over the rules and look and see what the specifications are. We do have our poster contest in March. We hold it down at the Capitol, and we'd love to hear all your positive thoughts about not using tobacco. And we want to thank Mrs. Lund for letting us come into the classroom. We want to thank our Pepper Shock guys for coming in and videoing. Hopefully we'll get a real good training video out of this one. You guys were really wonderful students. Well-behaved class, Mrs. Lund. Really wonderful.
What do you guys want to say to them for all their...
Thank you!
Welcome.
All right, I think they deserve a nice big round of applause as well.